Content Catchup.
Barks, I have dived into something that is a completely 10 out of 10 on the entry, low splash. But I've gone into a world I'm not particularly comfortable in. I've gone into UFC this week. I've been sitting on this one for a couple of weeks because we've had some big episodes lately. We had the grand final Bonanza, and then we went straight into Darcy Vesio.
Yeah.
So I've been holding this one, but it's a piece from, I don't know how to say his last name. I'm going to try it, but Khabib, the UFC fighter Khabib, he's the one that fought Conor McGregor and then jumped over the fence and smacked the shit out of half of Conor's entourage.
Right, I do remember watching
Great
that.
moment.
I think
It's a fun moment.
So I was just gonna say, I think that's interesting that we'll see what you've got, but it's actually not. It's not from a team this time. Like all our content we talk about is from teams. So it's actually from an individual camp, which is a bit intriguing.
I
but
guess
go on.
You can kind of look at them as teams, right? Because they're like, it's team Connor, but like it's individual. But you're right, it's not like there'd still be the same amount of content production going behind these guys. You've got to like think that, because it's all about their personal brand as well.
Yeah.
But the freedom would be huge. Okay, so I'm gonna put this on, and then we'll get your thoughts. Of course, you can follow along via Instagram and YouTube. You can see the full clip, and then we can we'll come back. Bucks, let's hit this hard. Don't think there's any sound, but anyway, you can see the point. Just imagine nice, gentle music in the background.
I'm focused on the hairdo.
It's not a hair, it's a hat. It's a
Russian.
No, it's a hat.
Disrespectful. This is all real, isn't it?
Yeah, this is a real story. I'll explain that after. Stop share.
Almost started off looking like a bit of a children's book, but then you can tell it's got a serious story behind it.
So, what we just watched was a cartoon that's on Khabib's Instagram page, and it basically tells the story of his life. So, his dad was his coach, and his dad was a legendary MMA fighter and coach in wherever Khabib's from. I'm not too sure. But it basically goes through Khabib's life and shows how his dad was always there by his side, and even when his visa got denied and he couldn't come to the fights, like, he was still there watching, and Khabib kind of knew he was in his corner. His dad passed away recently, and I think Khabib then was like, I don't know how to fight with this man that's like, without this man who's been there my whole life and like been a part of my journey. So I think Khabib's now announced that he's retired. He's not fighting anymore, but this is the story up to his last fight. And I just think, number one, the animation is really cool. The execution of it. If you watch it, there's no There's no words. There's no narration. It's just like music, and the story unfolds on its own. But what I'm more impressed is it's like a real soft side to what is normally such a brutal industry. Like you normally see with fighters and stuff, they're all about show. They're all about like talking shit. They're all about like trying to like be alpha, right? Like full of testosterone, whatever, and be really strong. But this shows that there's like something else that fuels them. So for Khabib, it wasn't just like the thrill of winning. It was like the thrill of doing his family proud and like knowing that he had to continue on this dynasty. And now that his dad's not there, the joy of fighting in UFC is no longer there for him anymore, and he's done. So it just like, I don't know, that's my taking on it. Interested to hear what you think, if you have any like different thoughts. But I just thought it was like, it's a breath of fresh air in like a very, like I said, a very alpha industry.
Yeah. No, I really enjoyed it. I think straight away, just in terms of the way they did it, it does sort of make you intrigued by the storyline behind it, and rather than just basically, I guess, giving you all the information they could have done a sit-down interview or like whatever else they could have done, but using a cartoon and using sketches, it sort of makes you intrigued by what is actually happening in this video, and therefore his life. I think it's a really sort of nice way to I guess explain what happened. Was his retiring due to the lack of love for it because his father passed away?
I'd be speaking without too much knowledge of it, but I'm pretty sure like
Probably.
If you're following that storyline and seeing how it kind of unfolded, you'd make the assumption that it's just the joy of it's gone if you can't have someone like your dad in your corner, and that be something that you and your father do together. Like, I don't know. I could be reading too much into it, but that's what it leaves it open to. So
no, I mean, that was my assumption. I just thought if you knew, but it's interesting how something like a sketch like that sort of, it's a lot more relatable. Like, you don't have to be into boxing or UFC to actually understand that. Like, you watch, anybody can sort of watch a animation or a cartoon and understand the storyline, and that's probably, without knowing, that's probably why they did it, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I think it also goes to show that the emotion in sport is always more important than the highlights. Like the fighting and the hard hits, they're always exciting, but what people really want is like some sort of connection to the athlete. So there's probably like hundreds of thousands of more people that Khabib is now connected with because he showed this like special relationship he had with his dad that others can now relate with and be like, well, that's how I feel about my dad or my mum or whoever it might be.
One of those bigger than sports sort of stories where you can sort of think, oh, he's not just some caged animal who beats the pulp out of people for a living. There is actually probably motivation and reason why he does what he does without knowing him.
And this is not saying that Khabib's a good man, because I'm sure there's some other shady shit that goes on with his life and whatever, but you know what, like, this is a great piece of content if you just got to look at it like that. That's my content.
That was a good piece, Jules, and good to see you sort of exploring other sports, because that's not one I would have seen.